Everyone right now is waiting for that next big move. Bitcoin consolidated around 84,000, but what is the next leg up? We've got some key things that you need to be aware of, why Bitcoin is very much following the same path as gold, and why Donald Trump, well, is simply setting up a massive move for the price of BTC. I've got it all for you in this video, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, we're bringing you the latest and greatest in cryptocurrency every single day, whether that's new projects, technical analysis, the news, and much more. We are your one-stop shop for everything cryptocurrency. So hit that subscribe button, turn your notification bell to all, and let's get into this video. So I think it was worthwhile starting here. A pretty quiet day on Wall Street with BlackRock once again turning green and buying some Bitcoin. In fact, $37 million spent by BlackRock buying Bitcoin today. And we actually see another inflow day for ETFs. This is good news. We've had a couple, about $10 million so far this week of inflows, which we've not had for a while. This is showing Wall Street is starting to warm up again. Now, we actually have seen holders of Bitcoin, those between 1,000 and 10,000 wallets, holding and buying even more. And this could be all part of the same thing. Institutions starting to stack their bags, regulatory clarity starting to come in, as well as easing of regulations. I think this all could be very bullish. And there is a couple of key things that have been announced today and that are coming down the pipeline. One, the stablecoin market. Loads of people expecting this to be a $2 trillion market by 2028. In fact, Standard Charter have revised their Bitcoin price and are now looking at a potential $230,000 Bitcoin this cycle. Now, the bank published a report that estimated the almost tenfold increase in the supply of stablecoins by the end of 2028 if the Gilding and Establishing National Innovation for the US Stablecoins Act is passed. This is known as Genius, and we've touched a little bit about what that is and why that's important here on the channel. But the London-based Standard Chartered Bank published a research report Tuesday projecting an unprecedented tenfold surge in stablecoin supply by the end of 2028. Well, you may ask yourself, why? How do they get to this point? And fundamentally, what is this going to do for the price of, well, every other Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? Well, the reality is that they expect a massive inflow, not only from retail investors, but institutions. In fact, it then starts to become the way that people just simply transfer money globally. And I think this is where it starts to get really important. In fact, quote, as stablecoin usage increases, the additional source of USD demand should support USDC hegemony. The report explains, adding that such dominance will act as a medium-term offset against the current threat to USD hegemony on the back of tariff concerns, i.e. the dollar is weakening. And actually Bitcoin and stablecoins are a hedge against that. And I think this is important. And we actually are now starting to see innovative funding to boost crypto reserves apart for this stablecoin. US working on new funding methods for these crypto reserves. Now, there is a debate right now that the tariff money that be raised could actually be used to support these crypto reserves. And I think what there is a momentum shift from the Trump administration. They're keen to get this working. Remember, 180 days, those reports going, then action follows. And we're getting close to that. We talked about that when it brought down. So what do we get? Well, Bo Hines, who is part of the Digital Asset Committee, saying this, that the Loomis Bitcoin Act of 2025 has generated significant interest within the community. Once the value of the current gold certificates is recalibrated, we can utilize the additional resources for cryptocurrency purchases. Now, this isn't new. We've touched on that. But what he has said recently, like I said, is all around the tariffs. In fact, quote, we are working on different creative methods. Tariff adjustments is within the realm of these strategies. All options are open for consideration. What this tells us here is the US administration wants to buy Bitcoin. They are keen to get this in. We know that Trump meeting President Bukele of El Salvador, and we know what they're doing with Bitcoin. This tells me exactly what that is on the back of trade deals and market volatility. And I think all of this, like I said, is playing a very important role. 15 trade agreements, and what this is doing is the desired involvement of other countries to support the US generating. So when you start to break this down, the push on tariffs is there. There is a demand for a strategic reserve, and they're looking at ways of funding it. This has to be incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, and more importantly, how this plays out. And that's why you're seeing more and more people start to buy. That's why, in my opinion, institutions are coming in. And there is another key factor that's playing out. So many people have always talked about Bitcoin being tied to gold. And this is a very interesting chart. In fact, many people believe that Bitcoin generally follows 100 days behind where gold is. Now, gold has been absolutely skyrocketing to new all-time highs as people hedge against tariffs and kind of volatility in the market. But generally speaking, Bitcoin comes very soon. And we're actually hitting that point now where you'd expect an uptrend aligned to a bit more of the market sentiment. Could this be an indication that not only is the White House looking to buy, the White House looking to hedge what they have, and actually retail investors are looking to stack their bags as well? This all could play out in a very big move coming very soon. Now, I know what people are going to say. Tuba, have you seen the price of BTC today? And the reality is, yes, it took a hit. We're down about 1%. That's on the back, by the way, of 2 solid days of green candles. And actually, what's important to reference here is we still have broken the downward trend. When you take a look here on the daily, you can see that we talked about this, the break against this downward sloping trend line, which is a good news. We broke it with volume. So therefore, this, in my opinion, is a bullish breakout. Yes, the price has come down a little bit. That's natural. We are consolidating in this range. Post the downward trend break, the reversal is on. What we need to see now is a nice push to the upside, breaking the 50-day exponential moving average. Key target to think about, around 86,000 would be positive. Bullish would be up around 87, 88,000, all of which I think are well within the reach over the course of the next 2 or 3 days into the weekend, which could signify another big move. So let me know what you think of all of this. Let me know what you think of the stablecoin market information, as well as the White House bullish view on the reserves and crypto assets. Always important to reference that. I do read all the comments down below. So do drop your comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you're part of our community. We'd love you to be here. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.